The Stone and the Silent Bloom. In the merciless heart of the al-Khali, where the sun blazed like a forge and the dunes whispered secrets only the wind could hear, a single wild olive seed lay crushed beneath a fallen slab of ancient rock. No one had placed it there by chance. A violent sandstorm months earlier had toppled the stone, burying the seed in total darkness, just as its outer shell had begun to crack with promise. Above it, the desert stretched endless and unforgiving. Below it, waited only more sand, drier and deeper. Yet inside that tiny seed burned a fierce, unexplainable will to live. This is the story of how the smallest thing in the desert taught the world the true meaning of rising. The seed woke to crushing pressure. It could feel the faint moisture from a rare, long-forgotten rain still trapped in the sand around it. That single drop of hope gave it courage. It knew its destiny was to break through the surface, to stretch green leaves toward the burning sky, and one day offer shade to weary travelers. So it pushed upward with every bit of life it possessed. The stone barely trembled. Again and again the seed strained, its fragile shoot bending against the immovable weight. Days turned into weeks. The heat above intensified. The seed began to weaken. Its voice, small and trembling in the darkness, cried out, "Why must my path be blocked? Have I not suffered enough? I was meant for the light, not this endless night." The desert, usually silent as a tomb, stirred that night. A cool desert wind slipped between the grains of sand and reached the struggling seed. In a voice softer than a whisper, the wind said, "Little one, stop looking only where you wish to go. Look the other way." The seed was confused. The other way? That is deeper into the earth, where there is no light, no air, only more darkness. "Exactly," replied the wind. "When the path above is sealed, the path below is your salvation." Something shifted inside the seed that moment. It stopped fighting the stone and turned its energy downward. It began to send out delicate white roots, thin as threads of silk, yet determined as iron. The first layers of sand were loose and easy, but soon the soil grew hard and dry. Rocks scratched its tender roots. Scorpions burrowed nearby, threatening to sever the fragile strands. Thirst clawed at it constantly. Many times the seed wanted to give up. It would pause, exhausted, and wonder if all this hidden labor was pointless. "No one will ever see me," it thought. "No one will ever know I fought so hard in the dark." Yet every time doubt crept in, the seed remembered the wind's words. It remembered that greatness never grows in comfort. So it kept pushing deeper, spreading its roots wider, seeking every hidden pocket of moisture. It learned to draw nourishment from minerals others ignored. It formed alliances with microscopic fungi in the soil that helped it reach farther. Slowly, silently, its foundation grew vast and strong, invisible to the world above. Months passed, seasons changed. The desert bloomed briefly after another rare rain, and then returned to its golden silence. Travelers crossed the dunes and never noticed the small patch of sand where the stone lay. But beneath that stone, life was transforming. The roots had now traveled deep enough to tap into an ancient underground water vein that no surface plant could reach. Strength surged back into the seed. With its foundation secure, it once again sent a shoot upward, this time with quiet confidence. The same stone still pressed down, but now the plant was no longer fragile. Its roots anchored it so firmly that when the shoot pushed, the stone shifted, just enough. A tiny crack appeared. A single green leaf, brave and bright, pushed through the sand and greeted the sun. Years went by. What began as a struggling seed became a magnificent wild olive tree, its trunk thick and twisted like the hands of a wise elder, its roots so deep and widespread that they stabilized the surrounding dunes. Travelers now rested in its generous shade. Birds nested in its branches. Its fruit fed desert nomads and their animals. When fierce sandstorms came, the tree stood unmoved, because its strength was not in its height, but in what it had built beneath the surface. One day, a young shepherd boy sat beneath the tree, tired and discouraged after losing his way in the desert. As he rested, an old storyteller passing through noticed the massive stone still half buried beside the trunk. He smiled and told the boy the tree's secret. "You see that stone?" the old man said. "Most would have died trying to break it. This tree chose to grow where no one was watching. It built its power in the darkness. That is why it stands so tall today." The boy never forgot those words. Years later, when he faced his own impossible obstacles, poverty, loss, and doubters who said he would never amount to anything, he remembered the wild olive tree. Instead of wasting his energy fighting what he could not move, he went deeper. He studied through sleepless nights. He built skills no one else valued. He strengthened his character in silence. And just like the tree, when the time was right, he rose. The desert still stretches golden and endless, but now it carries a new legend. The story of the tree that taught the world that true growth often begins in the opposite direction of our dreams. When life places a stone on your path, do not waste your strength in endless complaint. Look downward. Build your roots. Strengthen your foundation. Because the deeper you are willing to go in the darkness, the higher you will one day rise into the light. And somewhere beneath the shifting sands, the wind still whispers to every struggling seed, your greatest strength is not what the world sees, it is what the world has not yet seen.